Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jack Lundin. I'm the CEO of Bluestone Resources, and over the next 10 minutes, I'll take you through a high-level overview of Bluestone and get into a little bit of detail on our flagship asset, Cerro Blanco, located in southeastern Guatemala. So I will be making forward-looking statements throughout the presentation. Just a quick snapshot overview of Cerro Blanco. It is one of the highest grade undeveloped gold projects in the world right now. It's unique because we have our mining permits in place, and thanks to the grade of this deposit, it gives us one of the lowest operating costs in the business. We purchased this project from Goldcorp in May 2017, and Goldcorp had previously sunk up over $200 million of capital into the infrastructure, and there's already 3.5 kilometers of underground development and surface infrastructure as well that gives us a platform to build on, and essentially what makes this a near-term producer and what makes Bluestone an emerging gold producer in the gold space. So touching upon the schedule of what we've been through since we picked up the project. So in May 2017, Bluestone picked up Cerro Blanco from Goldcorp for $18 million. Between then and now, we've done an extensive remapping of the geology underground. We've assessed the infrastructure and the equipment that's been purchased from Goldcorp, and we were able to come out with a feasibility study in January 2019. Since then, we've embarked upon a resource confidence campaign, and we've had at least 25 kilometers of underground drilling to further define the deposit and further de-risk the asset. I joined 1 month ago, and right now what we're looking at doing is putting a team together to execute on the pre-development and development activities, ultimately hoping to achieve first production at the end of 2022. Right now, we're also looking at a project financing package, which I'll touch on a little bit later in the presentation. And the experience that I have, which I'm bringing to Bluestone, is that I was working as the project superintendent at Fruta del Norte, which is Lundin Gold's flagship asset. Just last week, we were able to announce the successful execution of the project, and we entered commercial operations. So I'll be taking the template that we developed for this project at Fruta del Norte, modifying it, obviously because every asset is different, and using similarities and drawing parallels from that and applying it to Cerro Blanco. Before I touch on Cerro Blanco and the area, it's important for me to mention that one of the pillars of this company is the environmental and sustainability aspect of the company. We give that as much much of an opportunity to grow on as the technical side, just like mining and social responsibility. We give them what we did similarly to Fruta del Norte, is we give it the same opportunity to grow on. And so with that, we actually have a unique opportunity to grow, to power the mine through renewable energy at the Mita geothermal power project. I won't touch on that too much because the focus is executing on Cerro Blanco, but we have a potential to generate renewable energy to power the mine and sell to the grid. Just a little bit about the jurisdiction of the asset and where it's located. It's in southeastern Guatemala, about 2.5 kilometers by car from Guatemala City, in the jurisdiction of Jutiapa. The mine is located about 6 kilometers away from the nearest town of Asuncion Mita, which is a small city of about 20,000 inhabitants. So this will be our home as we're developing and operating the project. You can see from the picture that there's a small footprint because it's an underground development, and because of its size, there's not that much work that needs to be done on surface, and we're working to minimize the footprint to ensure that there's a good commitment to protecting the environment. Thanks to the work that Goldcorp has already completed, we have socialized the project, and we have a very good relationship with the local community. And just last week, I was in Guatemala visiting with the government officials and developing a relationship there that we hope to create into a strong partnership going forward. So really, the reason why I'm here is the robust project economics on Cerro Blanco. A lot of this is due to the work that has already been completed to date. at an initial capital of only $200 million and a mine life of 8 years, we're generating an NPV at a 5% discount of $240 million. That gives an IRR of 34%, which translates to a payback of around 2 years. And really, where that makes us a unique investment opportunity is the fact that in the first full year of production, we'll be generating more free cash flow than the current market cap of this company today. So because of this near-term producer, because of the infill drilling that we've got going on and the understanding of the geology, we're going to be looking at extending this mine life. And I can confidently say right now that this won't be an 8-year mine life once we update the resource model. We've got a lot of work to do, but I think that we can put the team in place from Fruta del Norte and not only have close to 150,000 ounces of gold produced in the first 3 years, but look at extending that plateau and extending that mine life. So this is a cross-sectional view looking west of the deposit. It's cut into basically 2 zones, the north and the south zone. The red is the measured and indicated resource, and the blue is the inferred resource. So we have been drilling out the north zone at the second part of last year and just finished that early this year in January. And now we've got 4 rigs defining the south zone and further de-risking the asset and looking at, with the nature of this deposit, low sulfidation, epithermal, you really have to understand where the veins are, where the mineralization is, so that the mine planning engineers know that they're developing the infrastructure in the mine around the mineralization. And so we're looking at capitalizing on the fact that there's already 3.5 kilometers of underground development already in place. And so our rigs are starting in mineralization, and we'll be finishing up hopefully in the second half of this year to update our resource model. And again, the unique investment opportunity here is that because of the work that's already been done, it's a near-term producer, and we'll be looking at getting into that re-rate once we get into full swing development, which we're targeting towards the end of this year, early part of next year. But then also once we get into production, and you'll see on the right side there of that table, a lot of these single asset companies, once they're able to deliver on their guidance and get into production, they get what's called re-rated and move into a production type of asset class. So the next steps for us will be to drill out the south zone, complete the infill drilling campaign that we're currently undertaking right now. This will mean that we'll update the resource model and optimize the mine plan in the second half of the year. I'm going to be making sure that we bring forward as much engineering as possible to de-risk the asset before we actually have to kick off full swing construction, and also bringing over some of the team that helped us develop Fruta del Norte in southern Ecuador. So at this point, I think we'll be ready to start development activities at the end of this year or early part of next year, ultimately getting us into production towards the end of 2022. And in parallel to that, our finance team is working on a financing package that we'll hopefully be able to announce in the summertime of this year. So all in all, it's a compelling investment opportunity. It's a permitted, high-grade underground deposit with exceptional exploration potential, which I haven't touched on. But once we get underground and further develop the mine and get into production, we're going to be looking at the exploration potential in the concession and hopefully extending the mine life further and potentially looking at potential mines in the area. We've got strong shareholder support with the Lundin family at 34% and CD Capital at another 14%. And the project economics speak for themselves, which puts us in a position to really understand better the capital undertaking and optimize the project before we really want to start the development. That's it.